An American history lesson. You don't know nothing about Lady Liberty standing there in the harbor with her torch on high, screaming out to all the nations of the world, send me your poor, your deadbeats, you filthy. And all the nations sent them in here. They come swarming in like ants. Your Spanish PRs from the Caribbean there. Your Japs, your Chinamen, your Krauts and your Hebes, and your Reagan flags. Come in here, and they're all free to live in their own separate sections where they feel safe, and they bust your head if you go in there. That's what makes America great, buddy.
That plan is a campaign to make America white again. It's a plan that says over 50% of the current legal immigration will be cut back.
We must create a system that converts the current flow of primarily low-skilled illegal immigrants into the United States into a more manageable and controlled flow of legal immigrants who can be absorbed by our economy. Let me elaborate. The first of these 7 principles is that illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice.
When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it.
All right, yeah, get him the hell out of here, will you, please? Get him out of here. Throw him out.
People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally.
Get him out of here. Throw him out.
And that gets us to the immigration issue. If poverty is increasing and if wages are going down, I don't know why we need millions of people to be coming into this country as guest workers who will work for lower wages than American workers and drive wages down even lower than they are right now.
This is all a conspiracy. Don't you know that? It's a conspiracy there.
Get him out of here. Throw him out.
Very briefly on immigration, there isn't any sensible approach except to do what we need to do simultaneously, secure our borders with technology, personnel, physical barriers if necessary in some places, and we need to have tougher employer sanctions and then give them some earned right to legalization that will enable them to continue to work. If they've committed transgressions of whatever kind, they should be obviously deported.
Get him out of here. Throw him out.
Real reform means stronger border security, and we can build on the progress my administration's already made, putting more boots on the southern border than at any time in our history, and reducing illegal crossings to their lowest levels in 40 years. Real reform means establishing a responsible pathway to earned citizenship, a path that includes passing a background check, paying taxes and a meaningful penalty, learning English, and going to the back of the line behind the folks trying to come here legally.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
sharply raising the level of immigration we permit, even up to a level of open borders, about sharply increasing
open
the
borders.
amount of foreign aid. Open
No,
borders.
that's a Koch brothers proposal. The
Really?
idea, of course. I mean, that's a right-wing proposal, which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state, which we would love as an open border policy. Bring in all kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them. I don't believe in that.
This is all a conspiracy. Don't you know that? It's a conspiracy there.
I mean, the horror of a father or a mother going to work and being picked up and immediately whisked away, and children coming home from school to an empty house and nobody can say where their mother or their father is. That is just not who we are as Americans.
So there she's saying she thinks fewer people already here who are working, who are not doing anything wrong after obviously they broke the law to get here, but they should be able to stay. But listen to this. We've had this crisis in recent days of all these children stacking up in detention centers at the border. On that one, Hillary Clinton took a much tougher line, saying no, they can't stay.
They should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back, but I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families.
That one there, I think the liberals are going to say, hey, wait a minute, right?
Yeah, I think so. And this was one example, I think, from this town hall of her either taking both sides of many different controversial issues or being extremely cautious. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that after saying in one breath that the president should have more leeway on this issue and should be more sensitive to families, and then taking sort of like a harder line that you might hear from like a House Republican, and the next breath was actually pretty striking.
Well, she doesn't want to be seen as somehow enabling the sort of surge of illegal immigration across the border. But I think broadly watching that interview, John, I am struck by the fact that she is running to be the nominee of Barack Obama's party in 2016, not Bill Clinton's party in '92. This is a much more offensive, unapologetic brand of liberalism than I think her husband practiced, and it reflects how the country has changed and how her party has changed.
Meanwhile, what's happening to families at the border is horrific. Nursing infants being ripped away from their mothers, parents being told their toddlers are being taken to bathe or play, only to realize hours later they aren't coming back. This is a moral and humanitarian crisis. Every one of us who's ever been a parent or a grandparent, an aunt, a big sister, any one of us who's ever held a child in our arms, every human being with a sense of compassion and decency should be outraged. You know, I warned about this during the debates and on the campaign trail, that Trump's immigration policies would result in families being separated, parents being sent away from their children, people being rounded up and loaded into trains and buses. And now, as we watch with broken hearts, that's exactly what's happening.
The same page on immigration reform. Our Democratic caucus has adopted certain principles that relate to securing our borders, enforcing our laws, protecting our workers.
Oh, readers, the Democrats is doing the whole, the Democrats, and you put them in there. That's the face you had on you when you come back in the polls. Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
But it is true our borders are out of control. It is also true that this has been a situation on our borders back through a number of administrations. And I supported this bill. I believe in the idea of amnesty for those who have put down roots and who have lived here, even though some time back they may have entered illegally. With regard to the employer sanctions, we must have that, not only to ensure that we can identify the illegal aliens, but also, while some keep protesting about what it would do to employers, there is another employer that we shouldn't be so concerned about. And these are employers down through the years who have encouraged the illegal entry into this country because they then hire these individuals and hire them at starvation wages and with none of the benefits that we think are normal and natural for workers in our country, and the individuals can't complain because of their illegal status.
We didn't call it amnesty, we called it legalization. We're able to escape the hammer blows from the left and the right and everybody else.
Well, I was actually extremely hopeful that the law would work, because many of the members that I represented in my local union were undocumented.
Senator Alan Simpson, a Republican from Wyoming, helped author the Immigration Reform and Control Act.
Get rid of the subsidies. You subsidize illegal immigration, you get more of it.
Get rid of welfare. Get rid of
all the welfare benefits.
Health care for...
Absolutely.
So if someone's illegal and they show up at the hospital and they're injured, the hospital should do what?
Be charitable. Today, in many cities, you're not even allowed to ask them their immigrant status. You know, it might be on the form. Policemen told me, don't ask that question. They were told they can't ask that question to find out if they're illegal. And they've been breaking the law, they're arrested. But it's politically incorrect to ask a person their immigrant status, because that would say, well, if you're broken the law, maybe you ought to go home.
The system is broken because there are people who are exploiting human beings for material gain. There are coyotes, those are human smugglers, charging decent people large sums of money to come and work to put food on the table for their families.
Who are you addressing that to?
I think you're first in this.
He was looking right at you. I said he was. Look, I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs that that problem wouldn't come up. But today, if those people are here, I would reluctantly say I think they would get whatever it is that they're, you know, what the society is giving to their neighbors. But the problem has to be solved. The problem has to be solved because as we have kind of made illegal some kinds of labor that I'd like to see legal, we're doing two things. We're creating a whole society of really honorable, decent, family-loving people that are in violation of the law, and secondly, we're exacerbating relations with Mexico.
Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back, and they can cross and open the border both ways by understanding their problems. This is the only safety valve right now they have with that unemployment that probably keeps the lid from blowing off down there. And I think we could have a fine relationship, and it would solve the problem you mentioned also.
As always, thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. Visit us online at anewamerica.com.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.